Good day, sir. I am Julius Ryan Balbin from Littled IE third year. So my report is all about the fauna of deserts. So fauna of deserts, these are the organisms that are lives only in the deserts. So they are the animals that develop special body, structures, and ways of life. So it includes the centipedes, gerbils, kangaroo rats, snakes, and scorpions spend the day in burrows. They come out to search for food only when temperatures drop at night. So some snails, snakes, frogs, lizards, mice, and ground squirrels estimated in deserts, they sleep through the summer. So elf owls, roadrunners, snakes, spiders, bees, and butterflies are the other fauna of deserts. Many desert dwellers have light-colored skin, which helps keep them cool by reflecting sunlight. Desert animals include many kinds of insects, spiders, reptiles, birds, and mammals. Their foxes, wolves, and other animals may visit a desert after a rainfall. Larger desert animals try to remain in shady areas during the day. The evaporation of water from their bodies lowers their body temperatures, but this water must be replaced. Such animals obtain water from the food they eat and from the few water holes that exist in a desert. So the shape of the deserts, we all know these animals, which is the camels. So these are unique creatures which can not only survive but also help the human being across dry deserts with little food or water. So these animals is only survive at the deserts and help the human or other people to cross the hot deserts to avoid them in risky and dangerous situation. There are two chief kinds of camels. Number one, the Arabian camel, also called dromedary, which has one hump, and the Bactrian camel, which has two humps. The camels that graze in the Sahara can go all winter without water and may refuse to drink if water is offered to them. But a large, thirsty camel can drink as much as 200 liters a day. This water is not stored in the camel's body but replaces water previously used up. The annual production of dry matter. The primary production in deserts depend on the little amount of water and also the consumption strategy adopted by the plants. It is very low as 30 to 300 grams square meter per year in arid zones above the ground. Lowest production 2.6 grams square meter per year in June community in dry year observed. Highest production is on 816 grams square meter per year observed in Large Arroyo and Sichuan Desert. Average production is 180 grams square meter per year. So another is the herbivores have a pronounced impact on primary producers. The dietary food change seem to be less important in the deserts than any other ecosystem. Because of the limited production and decomposition, nutrients are limited in the deserts. In the side of productivity, Walter in 1954 has measured the net productivity of a series of deserts and semi-arid communities. This has also shown that the overall limiting factor of deserts and the productivity is the moisture. It has been found that the annual net productivity of true deserts is less than 2,000 kg per hectare. When this is overcome due to the rain, then the soil becomes a limiting factor.
Grassland ecosystem. Grassland are areas where the vegetation is dominated by grasses. However, sedge and rush families can also be found along with variable proportions of legumes, like clover and other herbs. Grassland occur naturally on all continents except Antarctica. Characteristic of grassland. Grasslands are dominated by grass, with few or no trees. They develop in areas where there is no enough rain for a forest and too much for a forest. Therefore, it is referred to as a transitional landscape. Grasslands are found in both temperate and tropical areas, where rainfall is between 250 mm and 900 mm per year, can be natural or result of human activity. Grasslands are also one of the most endangered biomes and easily turned to desert. In Australia, they they are one of the most threatened habitats. Distribution of grassland across the world. Grassland covers 25% of the Earth's surface. 1 billion people depends on their livelihood as a food source. Grasslands are found on every continent except Antarctica. Climates. Grasslands often occur in areas with annual precipitation is between 600 mm and 1,500 mm. Average mean annual temperature ranges from -5 to 20 degrees Celsius. However, some grasslands occur in colder -20 degrees Celsius and hotter 30 degrees Celsius climate conditions. Grassland can exist in habitats that are frequently distributed by grazing or fire, as such as disturbance prevents the encroachment of woody species. Species richness is particularly high in grassland of low soil fertility, such as serpentine, barrens, and calcareous grasslands, where woody encroachment in prevent as low nutrients level in the soil may inhibit the growth of forest and shrub species. Biotic components. Producer producer organism. In grassland, producers are mainly grasses, though a few herbs and shrubs also contribute to primary products of biomass. Some of the most common species of grasses are Bacteria, Cynodon, Desmodium, Digitaria. Consumers. In grassland, consumers are of three main types. Primary consumers. The primary consumers or herbivores feeding directly on grasses. The second one, the secondary consumer. These are the carnivores that feed on primary consumers. Tertiary consumer. This includes hawks and etc., which feed on secondary consumer. The decomposer. This includes with wide variety of saproto, saproto, saprotrophic microorganisms like bacteria, fungi, actinomycetes. Abiotic components. These include basic inorganic and organic compounds present in soil and aerial environment. The essential elements like CHNOPS, etc. are supplied by water, nitrogen, nitrates, sulfates, phosphates present in soil and atmosphere. Types of grassland ecosystem. A grassland consists of large rolling fields of grasses, flowers, and herbs. There are two main types of grassland, tropical and temperate, with several subcategories with each type. Tropical grassland, temperate grassland. Tropical grasslands. Tropical grasslands are warm all year round with established rain and dry seasons. During the rainy season, tropical grasslands receive between 50 and 130 centimeters of rain. Most most notable of the tropical grassland is the Africa savanna, which has an occasional tree and is home to many of world's most spectacular species, such as elephant, giraffe, lions, and zebras. Savanna grass is usually quite short, make for excellent grazing and hunting ground. Temperate grassland. Temperate grassland also have two seasons, growing and dormant. During dormant season, no grass or crops grow because it's too cold. These grasslands make for excellent farming because of their deep and nutrient-rich soils. Temperate grasslands receive between 25 and 70 centimeters of rain a year. Fauna of a grassland. Of the grasslands. Grasslands have highly number of inter invertebrates than any other taxonomic group. group. Most reptiles and amphibians are predators. Few bird species inhabited grasslands. Small mammals like mules, shrews, squirrels are present in North America grassland. Plants of the grassland. When rainy season arrives, many grassland becomes coated with flowers and flowers, some of which can survive well into winter with the help of underground storage organs and thick stem bases. Grasslands are the most agri- agriculturally useful habitat to humans. Soils tend to be deep and fertile, fertile, perfect for crop plant or pastures. Threats. Continued global warming could turn current marginal grassland into desert as rainfall patterns change. Development of urban areas is increasingly cutting into grassland habitats. Drought-hardy, cold-resistant, and herbicide tolerant varieties of soybeans, wheat, and corn allow crops to expand into native grassland, where only the crops is grow. Pests and diseases can spread easily, creating the need for potentially toxic pesticide. Importance: grassland are of vital importance for raising livestock for consumption and milk human consumption and for milk and other dairy products. Grassland provided home to many different animals that were hunted and domesticated. They are used as grazing area for cattle and ruling community. They maintain biodiversity, protect restore habitat for many plants and animals, including pheasant, ducks, songbirds, and endangered species. Grasslands have high number of invertebrates.
Good day, I am Chidlavan Alacopiado, a third-year student of Bachelor of Technology and Livelihood Education, major Industrial Arts. Now, I am going to discuss the topic that has been given to me, which is the forest ecosystem. Forest ecosystem is a functional unit or a system which comprises of soil, trees, insects, animals, and birds, and man as its interacting units. A forest is a large and complex ecosystem and hence has greater species diversity. Also, it is much more stable and resistant to the detrimental changes as compared to the small ecosystems such as wetlands and grasslands. A forest ecosystem, similar to other ecosystems, also comprises of abiotic and biotic components. Abiotic components refer to organic materials like air, water, and soil, while biotic components include producers, consumers, and decomposers. These components interact with each other in an ecosystems, and thus interaction among them makes it self-sustainable. And there are two main structural features of a forest ecosystem, and these are: first is the species composition, and the second is the stratification. Species composition refers to the identification and enumeration of the plant and animal species of a forest ecosystem, while on the other hand, stratification refers to the vertical distribution of different species which occupy different levels in the forest ecosystem. Every organism occupies a place in an ecosystem on the basis of source of nutrition. For instance, in a forest ecosystem, trees occupy the top level, while shrubs occupy the second level, and the herbs and grasses occupy the bottom level. There are components of forest ecosystems, and first is the productivity. Productivity is the basic requirements for any ecosystem to function and sustain in the construct input of solar energy. Plants are also the producers in a forest ecosystem. There are two types of productivity in a forest ecosystem, the primary and secondary. Primary productivity means the rate of capture of solar energy or biomass production per unit area over a period of time by the plants during photosynthesis. It is further divided into gross primary productivity or the GPP and the net primary productivity, which is the NPP, of an ecosystem is the rate of capture of solar energy or the total production of biomass. However, plants also use significant amount of GPP in respiration. Thus, NPP is the amount of biomass left after the utilization by plants or the producers. We can hence say that NPP is the amount of which is available for the consumption to herbivores and decomposers. Secondary productivity means is the means of the rate of absorption of food energy by the consumers.
Don't the water grow the trees? Don't the moon pull the tide? Don't the stars light the sky? Like you need to light my life.
Grassland ecosystem is characterized by a dry climate that allows very little vegetation, mostly dominated by different species of grasses. The grasses reproduce in grasslands through the pollination process or in some cases through producing plants from the roots. So they are saying that grasslands are the true kingdoms of animals. Grassland ecosystem is known by different names across the globe. For example, steppes in Europe and Asia, veld in South Africa, pampas in South America, downs in Australia, and etc. The climatic conditions of different grasslands vary to some extent, depending on their location. Grassland ecosystem plays an important role in the animal kingdom. Various species of animals starting from herbivores, carnivores, omnivores, insects, and etc. live together in grassland, making it a rich ecosystem in terms of the food chain. Types of grassland ecosystem. A grassland ecosystem consists of huge fields covered with grasses, herbs, and very few scattered trees. One of the main reasons for poor vegetation in grassland ecosystem is the irregular precipitation. So there are 6 main types of grassland: tropical grasslands, temperate grasslands, flooded grasslands ecosystem, tundra grassland, mountain grassland, and xeric grassland ecosystem. Tropical grassland ecosystem. Savanna is an excellent example of the tropical grassland ecosystem. The climate of the tropical grassland ecosystem is known to be warm throughout the year. It receives mainly 2 seasons, example, rainy and dry. Temperate grassland ecosystem. North American prairies is an excellent example of a temperate grassland ecosystem. It receives an annual rainfall of up to 25 to 75 cm. Unlike tropical grassland, temperate grasslands are quite rich in nutrient content in the soil. Tundra grassland ecosystem. Tundra grassland are also known as polar grassland. It is located in higher altitudes to subarctic areas. Tundra grassland ecosystem experience a very short growing season. As far as the vegetation of tundra grassland is concerned, It consists of huge grass fields and shrubs in between. Flooded grassland ecosystem. As the name suggests, flooded grassland have water throughout the year. That is why here you can find a huge variety of plants that grow in the water. Xeric or desert grassland ecosystem. Desert grassland are situated on the outskirts of the desert lowlands. Desert grassland ecosystem is very poor in terms of precipitation as it receives very low rainfall. This is why the desert grassland ecosystem is the hottest and driest grassland ecosystem present on Earth. Montane grassland ecosystem. In simple terms, montane means higher altitudes. The grassland found on high altitudes above the tree line is known as the montane grasslands ecosystem. Key characteristic of the grassland ecosystem: limited annual rainfall, the dry climate throughout the year, lack of nutrients in the soil. Grasslands are prone to drought and uncertain precipitation, frequent fire due to semi-arid climate and flash lighting. For vegetation growth dominated by grass, grasslands are home for a huge variety of animal species. Animals in grassland ecosystem. Grassland ecosystem provides a natural habitat to a variety of animal species. Grasslands provide a big threat for grazing animals. The most common plant-eating animals found in grasslands include zebras, gazelles, giraffes, wildebeest, rhinoceros, etc., whereas the common carnivores include lions, leopard, cheetah, and etc.